Good morning. It's Monday, March 23rd. Here's what we're working on.
I'm Simone Gavros reporting live at Toronto Pearson Airport. An Air Canada pilot and co-pilot are dead after a collision at New York's LaGuardia Airport. I'll have more details coming up.
Ontario's provincial members of parliament are heading back to Queen's Park today.
You've got to be the shot rock. Move it far enough, and they will not.
And Canada falls to Switzerland in the Women's World Curling Chip Championship. Thanks so much for joining us today. Okay, first Monday of spring, Brian.
Yeah.
Feels a little coolish.
Yes, I would suggest it is. Plus, we're getting some snow flurries at the moment. So
yes.
Not a great springy start to our day, but let's put some spring on your step and talk about how mild it's going to get as we continue through the week. But today, a little subdued. We're only going to hit 3 degrees for the day today. So seasonal is now 6 degrees, and we will get there as the week progresses. Not a lot of sun today. As a matter of fact, you got to be really careful because we're sitting, as I said, -1 right now with a wind chill of -6, and we are in some areas getting some light freezing drizzle, so be really careful on the roads this morning and of course walking, but that'll cycle into some flurries, which is what Hamilton's getting right now. Some flurries and a high of 3 for the day today. Temperature will get better tomorrow. We should hit 5 degrees and we'll have some sunshine, so the day will be better tomorrow. We'll talk about details on the forecast coming up. Quick look at traffic this morning. Nothing happening. 403 on Waterdown Road is doing fine both directions. Very light volume all around Hamilton right now. To some MTO traffic cameras. We'll check into Centennial Parkway. So on this shot, Toronto-bound lanes coming towards us, heading toward the Skyway Bridge. Here's the top of the Skyway. Very light. Same with Bronte Road, Burlington to Oakville. No problems right now. So we will keep you posted. We'll look at weather and traffic coming up in just a few minutes. Right now, the news.
Okay, we're watching a developing tragic story out of LaGuardia Airport where the pilot and co-pilot of an Air Canada Express flight are dead after colliding with a ground vehicle at LaGuardia. Now, Simone Gavros joins us from Toronto Pearson Airport with the details. And of course, there's a ripple effect because LaGuardia has closed its airspace, or did overnight.
Yeah, Annette, and LaGuardia Airport itself is still closed for the investigation. It's going to be closed until 2 p.m. later this afternoon, and that means that all flights here at Pearson Airport flying into New York, into LaGuardia, are going to be canceled until then. And just seeing that departures board right now, those are those cancellations that you can see. Now, we know that this collision and this fatal plane crash happened last night around 11:40 p.m. That's when the plane, which is a Jazz Air flight that's usually run by Air Canada. It did hit the Port Authority fire truck that was crossing the tarmac, and it was responding to another incident. Now, the plane took off from Montreal around 10:30 last night before this collision happened. There was significant damage to the front of the plane, and that's where those the fatalities happened. Aviation officials have said 72 passengers and 4 crew were on board that plane when it crashed. We are hearing that there are multiple injuries, but that number hasn't been confirmed just yet. Now, again, the airport in New York is closed until later this afternoon as the investigation is ongoing. We know that LaGuardia did post about this on their X page, just letting people know the initial details about this crash and what it's going to mean for the rest of the day. But we'll continue updating you throughout the morning. For now, things back to you, Rick.
Thank you, Simone. 6 people, including a baby, have been taken to hospital after an SUV slammed into a GO bus in St. Catharines. Niagara police say yesterday's crash happened in the area of North Service Road and YMCA Drive, just off the QEW. Police say a Honda CRV in the northbound lane drove straight into the oncoming GO bus. There were 18 passengers on the bus. 6 people, 5 passengers and the bus driver, were taken to hospital with minor injuries. Investigators say a 56-year-old man from the Kawartha Lakes area faces impaired driving charges, has had his driver's license temporarily suspended.
The Ontario legislature is set to resume sitting today. The 14-week winter break comes to an end amid a flurry of news, partial proposals, and headline-grabbing comments from Premier Doug Ford. Opposition parties say it's a flood-the-zone strategy to drown out criticism of a provincial plan to keep records of the Premier, cabinet ministers, and those of their staff and parliamentary assistants under wraps. The Ford government did announce earlier this month that it's going to table a bill to exempt cell phone records and more from Freedom of Information laws.
The Welland Canal has opened for 2026. It's a cold start to the shipping season with small chunks of ice floating in the canal. The first downbound ships went through yesterday in Port Colborne from Lake Erie to Lake Ontario. From now until next winter, about 3,000 ships are expected to use the canal. The Welland Canal is a key part of trade along the St. Lawrence Seaway.
An online petition is underway to keep a popular but aging arena in Hamilton's North End open. Eastwood Arena doesn't have ice, but it has a lot of community support. There are ball games, ball hockey games, lacrosse, and roller derby groups who rely on Eastwood. The arena on Burlington Street East near Wellington on the Hamilton waterfront has several structural issues. It was closed last year for several months because of issues with the roof. Eastwood is set to close temporarily again on April 15th.
The city needs to develop a plan before they close Eastwood. They can't put all these kids out with nowhere to play. We're closing it now to assess those risks and make sure that it can be reopened for, hopefully, September. If not, we'll be finding places for people to go.
City of Hamilton says no final decision has been made on Eastwood Arena's long-term future. More information is expected in May.
Canadians living abroad are advocating to increase turnout among overseas voters. They argue that barriers to casting a ballot could impact election results. The director of an organization designed to connect Canadian Liberal votes living outside the country says nearly 5 million Canadians live outside Canada, and roughly 3.5 million of them are eligible to vote. But Timothy Veal of Grits Abroad says participation among non-resident Canadians remains in the low single digits, pointing to mail-only voting and uncertainty about ballot arrival.
And a new legal battle at the U.S. Supreme Court targets mail-in voting rules. Justices are going to hear arguments today about the federal legalities of mail-in voting in the states, particularly the practice of some states by counting mail ballots that arrive at election offices after Election Day. Now, key here is that 15 states have more forgiving deadlines for ballot from military and overseas voters. They could be impacted. U.S. President Donald Trump is pushing justices to limit the mail-in system. In Arizona, the Guthrie family is asking again for the Tucson community to help in finding their missing mother. Nancy Guthrie, the mother of Today's Show host Savannah Guthrie, was last seen at the end of January. The 84-year-old is presumed to have been kidnapped from her home. The family's asking people in the larger community of Tucson to search their memories, photos, or any other information that could be relevant to the case, no matter how small. The family has already announced a $1 million reward for information leading to their mother's recovery. Savannah Guthrie says she plans to return to the Today Show eventually, but is focused right now on providing support for her family. The United Nations Weather Agency is warning the Earth's climate is further out of balance than at any other time in recorded history. The World Meteorological Organization says the planet is gaining much more heat energy than it can release, and that's driven by emissions of warming gases like carbon dioxide. The energy imbalance heated the oceans to new levels last year and continued to melt the planet's ice caps. Scientists are afraid the natural warming phase, El Niño, expected to start later this year, could soon bring further heat records. In response to the report, the UN Secretary General has reiterated his call for countries to move away from fossil fuels to renewable energy.
For the third year in a row, Canada and Switzerland met for gold at the Women's World Curling Championship. In Switzerland's Xenia Schwaller and Canada's Carrie Anderson faced off in Calgary, and the Swiss skip opened the scoring in the second end when she scored 2 with an open draw. Anderson answered back a couple of ends later when her final rock clipped a Swiss guard, but despite the love tap, it still made it in for a deuce to even the score at 2. Switzerland scored 2 more in the fifth end to take a 4-2 lead, and then another deuce in the 8th to go up 6-4, trailing 6-5 in the 10th end, and without hammer, Anderson tossed her final stone.
You got to get the shot rock. You got to get there and tap this back. Get there and tap this back. You've got to be the shot rock. Move it far enough, and they will not. Switzerland is your world women's curling champion.
Anderson came up short in her bid to win the Worlds for the first time, falling 7-5. It's the first title for the 23-year-old Schwaller, avenging Switzerland's loss in the final to Canada's Rachel Homan in 2024 and last year. The men's World Championship opens Friday in Utah, where Manitoba's Matt Dunstone will represent Canada for the first time. Alex Ovechkin scored his 1,000th NHL goal, regular season and playoffs, joining Wayne Gretzky as the only players to reach the milestone. But the league-leading Avalanche beat Ovi and the Capitals 3-2 in overtime when Brock Nelson scored the winning goal in the extra period. Gretzky, by the way, has 1,016 goals in the regular season and playoffs. Troy Terry scored his second goal of the game 89 seconds into overtime as Anaheim beat the Sabres 6-5. That ends Buffalo's 7-game road winning streak. Anaheim's Michael Granlund tied the game with 1:44 to play in regulation time. For all the scores, check the ticker. The Raptors got burned by the Suns. Devin Booker scored a game-high 25 points as Phoenix stopped a 5-game losing streak by blasting Toronto 120-98. The Suns never trailed in the game. They led by 18 points at halftime and were up by as many as 30 points in the third quarter. It was Toronto's second straight loss, but the 39-31 Raps are still number 5 in the Eastern Conference playoff race, a half game ahead of Atlanta and Philly. It appears the defending American League champion Blue Jays are ready for opening day. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Alejandro Kirk, and Jesus Sanchez each hit 2-run home runs in a 6-run first inning as the Jays trounced Tampa Bay 14-1 in the final spring training game for both teams. George Springer hit a 3-run shot that capped a 7-run fourth inning for Toronto. He finished the exhibition season with 12 wins and 14 losses. Dylan Cease earned the win for Toronto, striking out 6 batters over 5 shutout innings, allowing only 3 hits and a couple of walks. The Jays open the season Friday when they host the Athletics. Nico O'Reilly scored 2 goals in a span of 4 minutes in the second half to lead Manchester City to a 2-0 victory over Arsenal in the Carabao Cup final. O'Reilly opened the scoring in the 60th minute and completed the brace in the 64th as Man City denied the Gunners a chance for a quadruple trophy bid. Pep Guardiola became the first manager to win 5 League Cups, landing the 19th trophy of his remarkable 10-season tenure at City. The Blues, however, are 9 points behind Arsenal in the race for the Premier League title. Burlington's Victoria Mboko and partner Mira Andreeva have advanced to the round of 16 in the women's doubles tournament at the Miami Open. The Niagara Ice Dogs beat Erie 6-5 in overtime, while Brantford lost 6-1 in Brampton. The Ice Dogs will open the OHL playoffs Thursday in Barrie. Brantford hosts Sudbury on Friday night.
Okay, coming up on 6:13. It's Monday. Yay. Let's get going here. The traffic is going to be back to normal. Of course, March break week is gone now, so the volume is going to start to increase, and it's a bit busier here now at the 403 and Waterdown Road, but not a lot to look at. To some MTO traffic cameras. We'll start in St. Catharines as usual. Come around the Horseshoe, QEW 405, St. Catharines fine. Centennial Parkway, Fairview Street. We're just flipping through with some cameras as usual. East of Royal Windsor Drive, nothing there. And the Gardner QEW 427 combination, no problems on the roads right now. But just take it carefully, please, because our temperature at the moment is just into the minus column. We're -1. Now, there has been some light freezing drizzle, so be really careful. Now we're getting some flurries. So -1 the temp. The winds make it feel like -6. There's that flurry activity for the morning. And we'll get some flurries on and off. So, yeah, those big yellow things are back on the roads again. So for school today, 3 degrees is what we're looking at. Some flurries, bit of a northwest wind, 20 gusting to 40. And that's a chilly wind, going to keep our temperature subdued. We've had a little bit, just some pink, some purple showing up on our map. We've had some freezing drizzle this morning. What we're going to get is just some flurries with that northerly flow. The low that gave us the rain yesterday is moving away. High pressure ridge is going to give us back some sunshine tomorrow, and the southerly flow behind it is going to help to bring our temperatures up as we climb into the middle of the week. But today, yeah, pretty subdued, anywhere from 2 to 3 degrees, 1 for Guelph and Kitchener, but there's the cloud with the flurries today. Tonight, it's going to be cold, -7 to -8 degrees, wind chill values about -12. So it's going to be a pretty chilly overnight. Skies will clear as we get set for some sunshine for the day tomorrow. Tomorrow's temperature is better, 3, 4, and 5 degrees for the day. So that's almost to seasonal, but still not quite. So another cool day, but at least we'll see some sun. So out the door, 23rd morning of March, it is cloudy. We do have some light snow. Temperature right now, -1. Long range coming up. Annette, right?
Okay, coming up after the break, we're going to say good morning to Emily with a preview of what she has in Chit Chat. And in business news, the price may be higher, but Canadian viewers still prefer streaming. More on that after the break. 6:17 on your Monday morning. Time to say good morning to Emily with a preview of Chit Chat.
Hi, good morning. Well, there is a new gardening show coming out, and it's going to be hosted by Zach Galifianakis.
I am really looking forward to this.
Are there ferns involved here?
Well, no, it's more than 2 ferns.
Okay. Looking forward to that.
Much more than 2 ferns.
Okay.
Kevin Hart is finally in the hot seat when he gets roasted in an upcoming Netflix special. And later on this morning, Ryan Gosling's Project Hail Mary scores huge at the box office.
Nice.
We'll discuss.
Okay, we will discuss. Right now, we're going to talk business. On the markets, the Canadian dollar has slipped just a little bit to 72.85 cents U.S. Gold has dropped $344 an ounce. Oil closing in on $100 a barrel again. It's up $1.47 to $99.70 a barrel. Midday trading in Europe, London, Frankfurt, and Paris are all down triple digits.
Asian markets are also down today, with Tokyo's Nikkei dropping by a whopping 1,857 points. North American markets were down substantially on Friday, with the TSX losing 537 points.
Canadians are paying more for streaming, but are still cutting the cord. By the end of last year, nearly half of Canadian households had no cable or satellite TV subscription. This is despite a 7% increase in the cost of top streaming platforms like Netflix, Crave, and Disney+. A report from Convergence Research, they call it the Couch Potato Report, says much of that growth is tied to ad-supported streaming plans. They're cheaper and about 42% less on average, but they generate more revenue through advertising.
Ottawa's nominee for the next parliamentary budget officer is set to face questions from MPs on the Finance Committee this afternoon. Annette Ryan is a longtime public servant and the current deputy director at Canada's Financial Intelligence Agency. Her nomination needs to be approved by the House of Commons. Interim PBO Jason Jacques' term expires at the start of this month, and the position has been vacant since. That means the office can't publish reports or take requests for new work from parliamentarians.
A jury has delivered a mixed verdict in a case involving Elon Musk and his 2022 takeover of what was then known as Twitter. Musk has been found liable for defrauding investors by deliberately driving down Twitter's stock price in the months leading up to the $44 billion U.S. acquisition. But the jury rejected other fraud claims, finding he did not orchestrate a broader scheme to mislead investors. The civil trial in San Francisco stems from a class action lawsuit that was filed just before Musk finished the purchase of Twitter, which he eventually renamed X.
The head of the International Energy Agency says the global economy faces a major threat because of the Iran war. Faith Berthal told Australia's National Press Club today that the crisis in the Middle East has had a worse impact on oil than the 2 oil shocks of the 1970s combined, and a worse effect on gas markets than the Russia-Ukraine war. Israel launched a new wave of attacks early today against Tehran. Iran renewed strikes on its Gulf neighbors and threatened to start hitting their power plants.
We are taking a quick break right now. Brian is back with traffic and your 7-day forecast. It's back to school, back to business.
Good morning, 6:23 already. Time for an update on the roads. Roads are looking a little damp through here. We're getting some areas have had some light freezing drizzle, so be real careful. QEW 406, nothing to see there. Top of the Skyway Bridge is definitely getting busier from the last time we checked it. Nothing at Brodie, nothing at Lorne Park, and we'll dip into the 403 at Burnhamthorpe. That's fine, so no problems on the roads. Temperature this morning, we're a little on the chilly side to start our morning here. We're sitting at -1. Then you factor in the winds. It feels like -6. The sky is cloudy. We do have some light flurry activity. Temperature 0 Mississauga, +1 Grimsby, and for Toronto, So if we talk seasonals, 6 degrees now for the daytime high, -3 for the overnight low. So we're still above seasonal to start a morning, but it's chilly with that wind. Those are our sun times and our records for today. And today is going to be fairly gray. We're not going to see a lot of sun. We'll get some flurries this morning and fairly cloudy with some flurries this afternoon, but at least we'll climb to the plus side. We should hit +3 for the day today, shy of what we got to yesterday. Yesterday we got to 4. So 3 today with that flurry. Tonight down to -7 with a wind chill of -12. It's going to be a cold night, cold start to the day tomorrow. Skies will clear, and then tomorrow we're looking at a mix of sun and clouds generally and 5 degrees. It gets milder through the middle of the week. Wednesday some sun, but chance of showers in 6, showers in 7 on Thursday, and then it gets a lot colder. -1 only on Friday into Saturday and Sunday. Of course, Palm Sunday coming up. Temperature chilly Saturday, but climbs nicely to seasonal on Sunday. That's a look at your forecast. Annette, Rick.
Thank you, Brian. Here in Southern Ontario, spring birds are starting to show up.
And in the UK, much larger animals are getting outside to enjoy the new season. At the Whipsnade Zoo, just outside of London, a 3-month-old white rhino stepped out for the first time ever. He's kind of hesitant to get his feet muddy at first, but his mom coaxed him onto the grass, where he quickly learned how fun it is and was playing around there.
Look at that.
As well, 2 giraffe calves at the zoo also made it outside for the first time. They were born 3 weeks apart in December, and they took to the warm grass right away, exploring it in no time.
We've had a lot of animal births over the last number of days. And the elephant, the giraffe calf, now the rhino. What's next, I say?
There we go. It is that time of year.
It is, very much so. What a cutie.
Love the little rhino. Who's going to make that one? Like wipe off his feet before he comes back into the enclosure.
Like, oh, should I go? I don't know
what to
about
do.
this. I don't know about this. What is this yucky stuff? Oh, it's mud. I can splash in it.
Okay, Brian's going to tell us if your little ones will be splashing around in the mud today. Stay with us. We've got lots more to come.